If you know me at all, you know that I spend a lot of time on the internet just going down historical rabbit holes. Like I spend a lot of time on Wikipedia just clicking on those blue links until I end up at pages that I'm like, how did I get here? I ended up looking at a photo that I've never seen before, and it really opened my eyes to a whole new element, a whole new aspect to the fight for racial integration, specifically in Little Rock, Arkansas. So this is a photo of a Black girl who is completing her high school classes through the television. She's watching a teacher give like a pre-recorded lesson, and you can see she's like taking notes. Why is a Black girl in 1959 doing essentially distance virtual education? Well, it's because the story of the Little Rock Nine and the successful integration of Central High School in 1958 is not the end of the story. Yes, Eisenhower eventually sent down troops. The 101st Airborne Division, right, famously escorted these 9 Black kids into school so that they could safely attend. But at the end of that school year in 1958, the governor, Faubus, was like, we're not doing that again. And so he proposed that the state should just shut down every single public high school in Little Rock, Arkansas, all 4 of them. He basically was saying this is our state's right to respond to the court's decision saying we had to integrate. Say, okay, fine, you're gonna make us integrate, we're gonna shut down all the schools. And his plan originally was to say that they were gonna shut down the public schools and then lease the buildings to private schools so that they could admit only white students. This state action was taken to a referendum by the voters of Little Rock. Remember, we're talking voters are going to be white voters, right? Because we're still in the era of Jim Crow. And overwhelmingly, they supported the decision. These white families were willing to shut down all schools to avoid their kids going to school with Black kids. Now, his whole plan to lease the buildings to private schools got shut down too. The courts were like, you can't do that. So what ended up happening is that all the public high schools were just shut down for an entire school year. Now, did the white families, the white voters, blame this lost year on Governor Faubus? No, of course not. They blamed it on Black people of Little Rock. Hate crimes rise in the city of Little Rock. Like, it's really, really a terrible year. All the teachers were still under contract and still forced to come to school every day. They were forced to sign loyalty oaths and all this stuff that sounds vaguely familiar today. By the end of the year, they decided that the following school year, they would just reopen the schools and I guess integrate them, right? But of course, the Black students then coming to these now newly integrated schools are going to be really mistreated. So don't forget, we see these photos, we see these moments in time that represent kind of some golden era moment in civil rights, say. But remember that the reality is way longer, more complex, more nuanced, and often a lot worse than a photo maybe makes it seem.